Hey guys, this is Larry with Delta Tactical Training Group, and today I wanted to talk to you briefly about red dot optics for your handgun. I was recently in the market for one, and I will admit I was completely overwhelmed. There were so many options, so many manufacturers, so many different product offerings that my mind was blown. And it took me, oh my gosh, the better part of a month to finally decide on this particular product. And this is the Leupold DeltaPoint Pro 2.5 MOA red dot. And I made the decision to purchase this for some very specific reasons that are personal and make sense for me. And in no way am I pushing this product as the end-all product. There's some great products out there. I had the privilege of running my associate's gun that's topped with Trijicon RMR, beautiful optic. But after the dust settled and the research was complete, I decided this was the best way to go for me. So with that being said, let me bust this thing open and show you guys a little bit more. The box, it's a nice little packaged box. Leupold always does a good job in the way they package and present their product line. Operating manual. You've got the mounting screws. It looks like they slapped on a little bit of the low strength Loctite onto the threads, which is good. You've got the Torx wrench. Then you got a little windage and elevation key. Little lithium 2032 battery. Little rubber protective cover for the optic itself. That's nice. Then of course, you've got the optic. So again, I did some exhaustive research to get to this place where I selected this one. And I'll start down the list with some of the reasons why I chose this over others. For one, it fit my gun. And on a lot of optics, you have to use an adapter plate, depending on the firearm you have and depending on what you select. In fact, I've got my gun here. It's a SIG P320. And I'm going to clear it first to make sure it's safe. Nothing in the chamber. Nothing in the mag well. It's clear. So, on top of my SIG P3 29mm, I have a SIG Pro Cut slide. And Pro Cut generally references this little feature here. And this is milled, the top of this slide is milled to accept an optic, which I found to be very appealing versus using an adapter plate to mount. So all you do is you pull these two screws, pop the plate, drop your optic in, and you're good to go. There were some other features too that I liked on this particular slide, mainly that and the fact that it's got a really super bright front tritium, front sight. And so back to the optic itself, that was one of my main reasons. I didn't have to use an adapter to drop that particular sight into this. And interestingly, SIG cut that to fit their SIG, their Romeo 1, their red dot optic. The only other one that they cut it for was the Leupold. And so after comparing both the SIG and the Leupold, I decided hands down I'm going with the Leupold. Nothing against SIG. I love SIG products, but fact remains, this was the one for me. So more about the options that appealed to me. On a lot of the different red dot products out there, for you to access the battery when it's time to replace it, you have to pull that entire sight off your slide and replace the battery from underneath. With this Leupold, there's a little switch on top, and you just pop that switch, and the little lid is spring-loaded and magnetized, and it pops right up, and you just drop that battery, drop it in, depress it, and lock it tight with that little lever. Can you guys see that? Whoops, sorry. So, yeah. So I love that. So there's no pulling it off. You don't have to worry about getting it sighted in again once you remove it. It's just a quick little motion, drop the battery, you're good to go. Also, the glass, it's so clear. And again, for older eyes, that's appealing to me. I've ran other optics that it had kind of a blue tint. They had kind of a blue tint. Not a big deal, you get used to it, but still, this comes just right out of the box, just crystal clear. And that window is spacious. It's a big window. So that's going to allow old tired eyes to pick up that red dot a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently. So I love that. What else do I love about this thing? That pretty much covers it. I mean, it's a red dot system, you know. I like that the dot at 2.5 MOA, it's not so big that I lose the target out at distance, but it's it still allows me at reasonable distances to still have some pretty specific accuracy. That's a good feature that I appreciate. And I think I pretty much covered it. Let me mount it for you real quick. Shouldn't be a problem. So again, 2 screws. So be careful not to lose those screws. Pop the plate, set it aside. Grab your optic and drop it right in. It's just a perfect fit naturally. So then grab the longer screws, snug them down. Snug but not overly torqued where you run the risk of stripping them, because the last thing you want to do is damage your brand new optic. And there you have it. All that's left now is to get it out to the range and make some windage and elevation adjustments, and the rest is history. So I hope you found this little product review to be somewhat educational, maybe even a little entertaining. If you've got any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us through our social media sites, Delta Tactical Training Group on Facebook and Instagram, and we would be more than happy to have a discussion with you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out of here. Train for the moment.